Hello and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are going to talk about the Treasurer's Office. A lot of people don't think about everything that goes on there, so they're going to tell you. My guest is Molly Ward, who's our treasurer, and Derrick Woolaston, who also is in the office. Welcome.
Thank you. We're thrilled to be here.
Sometimes people don't like to talk about what you do because it involves taxes, and we don't really want to pay taxes, do we?
Right. Well, I will say that, you know, we try to make the experience as pleasant as possible and easy for the customers as possible. We work every day on customer service, making sure you can get in and out, that we don't have any lines, that you know, we can answer the phone calls when you call in, you get a human being when you call. We work really hard on those things so that it's easy and painless as possible. It
is, and everybody, you know, has to pay taxes. I mean, that's how we get roads repaved. That's how we get teachers. That's how we get police officers, fire department. I mean, we want the services, and we have to realize they cost some money and that we all pay our share.
Right.
Yes.
And one of the things you do is make sure that everything is fair.
That's right. That's right. We enforce the laws carefully and evenly. We try to make sure every citizen is treated with the same courtesy and respect and with the same parameters of the law. We don't do any favors for anybody based on who we know. We are very clear about what our statutory authority is, and we follow those guidelines. Well, they're not guidelines. We follow those rules, the law, very closely.
Now, there's lots of ways for the average citizen to pay their taxes. A lot of people never set foot in your office as far as taxes are concerned. What are the different ways for people who aren't familiar to be able to pay that tax bill that comes twice a year?
Well, the first obvious way is through the mail.
I do that.
Yeah, a lot of people pay through the mail. Our lobby traffic has slowed down since our online service has picked up, but you can always come to the lobby and pay. We have a box outside.
Right, the
drop box. You can do it right there.
Yeah, you can drop it in the drop box. You can pay online, and we're getting ready to expand and make our online services more friendly. We hope to launch it by this fall. We're not 100% sure, but we're going to have a new ability to go online and pay and create an account to make it easier for you to keep track of your payments and see what you've paid and print statements, etc.
Exactly.
That's helpful, but just being able to pay online is huge. I mean, you remember the days when the day personal property tax was due, there'd be a line of people outside the office, and the world has changed since then.
That's right. That's right. We don't see the lobby traffic we used to, but even so, we work really hard to make sure there's never a line. We open up, we take away everybody's lunchtime and break time, and everybody, you know, gets together, and the whole office works together to make sure all hands are on deck, and we open up different stations, and the field investigators don't work in the field those days. They, you know, guide people through the lobby and make sure that they know which window they're going to and why. So we work really hard to make sure people don't have to wait.
And you still have those same folks that they want to talk to a real person. So during particularly tax week, you'll see more lines, and people are coming in, and of course they're dealing with real people. And they know the people, and so it's more comfortable environment.
And that's sort of your bailiwick in the office. You're in charge of the customer experience, the counter. Why do people want that? Is it just because they want to hand their money to a person and know that it's there, or?
I think it might be generational. There's a lot of folks, and I'm probably in that category, that I like talking to a person. And we're missing that social aspect now with social media. So, yeah, we get a lot of folks that come in. Once they talk to the person, they feel like, well, they listened to my issue, they listened to my problem. We may not have given them everything that they wanted, but however, they felt a little bit better once they left. So.
Well, and I'm assuming that, you know, people get the bill, people pay the bill. Sometimes people have questions. And what is the best way to resolve that? There's several different ways they can contact your office and resolve any questions that they might have.
Right. I will say that in person, it's often very helpful. If you have a complicated issue, it's often great to come in. And sometimes we're just the collector, correct? So we bill and collect the taxes. And we provide other services as well, which I hope we get to talk about today. But some of those issues may involve the assessor's office, you know, and maybe there's a question about your assessment or valuation or something like that. Or you may have a question about a car that you may have sold, or a boat you may have disposed of, or a trailer, or whatever that has been assessed by the Commissioner of Revenue. So therefore, it's really helpful to come in and be able to deal with the Commissioner and get your car or your other issue resolved and adjusted. And then we can give you your correct bill at the Treasurer's office. You're also welcome to do that on the phone. I think it's sometimes less confusing to do that in person.
And we see quite a few emails also.
Yes.
That's, I would say, a major part of the day is just answering emails for those questions. How do I do this? I'm military. Where do I send my LES in? And so we're able to work along with the commissioner's office to answer those questions.
And so that's I think of still as the main function is that you collect taxes, you ensure that people pay taxes. It gives the city basically the money it needs to run, because property taxes and personal property taxes are the biggest chunk of what pays for all of our services.
That's right. It's the bread and butter for the city.
But you do a lot of other things. And so people who may pay their taxes online may think they're not needing the office in person, but animal license, of course, we do that through the mail too, right?
Yes,
but
you can buy an
some people don't.
You can do an animal license, and now you can buy, lifetime animal licenses.
That is the best thing ever.
Yes,
like, my dog is 12. He probably isn't going to last long enough for me to get my money back, but I don't have to write the check. You don't have to send it to me every year. It's just simple.
That's right. So we do that. We also provide, we have a passport office. You can apply for a passport in our office. We have appointments available. We're also doing walk-ins if we don't have appointments. We encourage you to call and make an appointment, but if you can't do that and you want to come see if we're free, we'd love to help you. We're looking to expand that passport office. It's now located in a different section of the building, and we're excited about being able to provide that service to citizens, especially with Real ID coming up.
Well, let's talk about Real ID. It's not your office, but I think it's going to have some rollover effects for people. Real ID means what, Molly?
It means that every citizen, and I don't have the dates exactly right because it isn't our function yet. The Division of Motor Vehicles will be processing what's called a Real ID for citizens, and it's basically you have to start. It's a licensure process. You have to start from scratch, and you have to provide proof of birth and citizenship and a variety of things, and you can find out more about that on the DMV website.
You will need that or a passport to fly domestically.
That's right.
At some point.
That's right.
I forget
I think
the dates
it's 2021,
but that's a big deal to people.
Right.
Like if you don't think it doesn't affect me, I don't fly, but then someone dies and you need to get on a plane to go to a funeral or something, someone's sick, you have to really plan ahead. And the DMV is expecting long lines because it affects everybody. And it's a more intensive process where you have to check off more things.
That's right.
So the alternative, at least initially, is a passport. And so I think people who don't have a passport because they're not planning to go abroad find that it might help facilitate domestic travel as well.
That's right. So we'll be providing extra passport services. And then as well, the city is invested in, and we haven't started this construction yet, but we're going to move our DMV Select from the regular teller line to its own separate space. So it'll be a friendlier and a better customer service experience.
Oh, it's already friendly now.
Yeah,
it's like it's got its separate line, and if there's too long a line, someone jumps in and says, can I help you over
well,
here?
we just want to do better. We want to do better. And also with Real ID, DMV is expected to have larger than normal crowds. And so while we can't do Real ID for you,
we can do the overflow.
We can do the overflow for your licensing, not for licensing, for vehicle registration and those kinds of things, plate transfers, all those kind of things. We can handle things besides licensing, driver's licensing. So we would encourage citizens to come to our DMV Select rather than try to go to the main customer service center on Mercury Boulevard if they have something other than a driver's license or Real ID issue.
Oh, absolutely. I've been, and it is. You walk up, there's maybe one person ahead of you, and if it's crowded for some reason, someone else will jump in. I mean, it is a very flexible office that does, whatever you need to do. Everyone, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people are cross-trained. People can help. You can call in, a specialist if it's a tricky problem. I mean, it's always been very friendly.
Yes, and that's a service that's provided as a joint effort between us and the Commissioner of Revenue's office. We both share the responsibility of that DMV Select, and we both provide resources to DMV Select. And the city of Hampton supports that effort. It's not entirely paid for. It doesn't pay for all our hard costs, the money that we are able to keep from the DMV work. So the city of Hampton supports that service as a benefit to our citizens.
And it is. It's a huge benefit, I can personally say. And I haven't been very often, but, going to the DMV, especially if you work and you're trying to go on a Saturday, you're setting aside 4 or 5 hours of your life a lot of times. So the things you can do at DMV Select, it's very helpful. And then you also have a DMV, a bigger DMV when they come and visit.
DMV Connect.
Okay.
Yeah. And I wanted to add, Robin, having the commissioner's office right there. Think about this. You have a vehicle that you sold years ago. Now you have the commissioner's office. You can go over there, get that removed, and then go back to DMV, where you can't do that at the regular DMV.
That's
So
right.
it's a two-pronged thing. But yeah, as you were mentioning, we have DMV Connect. That's done every 2 months that we do that. We have one coming up in September and then November again.
And I'm just going to say, because we're going to re-air this to keep people apprised, especially around tax deadlines, but to check the website.
They can check the website
at hampton.gov/treasurer, and we'll make sure that we have on your calendar or on your news on the web page what those dates are.
Right.
Now, normally we do everything the DMV does with exception to ID cards and license renewal. When DMV Connect comes in, we do everything. So again, one-stop shop. You can come in, pay your taxes, you can pay your business license, you can pay your excise, you can go to DMV Select and get everything done, or DMV Connect.
Great. Is there anything else that I'm not asking you about? I know.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't realize that we collect more than real estate and personal property.
Right.
We collect business license tax, business personal property tax, and then excise taxes. Excise tax is a meal that is collected by business on behalf of the city or the state when you go to a restaurant or a hotel or certain other things like the movie theater.
Your amusement, we call them in the city budget, the amusements tax,
That's
the
right.
meals tax, sales tax, all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Right. So when you go out for a meal in the city of Hampton, you pay a 13.5% tax. 6.5% of that goes to the state, and 7% comes to the city of Hampton. And so that's collected by the restaurant on behalf of the city and the state, and then it's paid over to the Commissioner of Revenue. And so when those taxes aren't paid, we take that very seriously, since it originally was paid by the citizens themselves. And so the Treasurer's Office collects those taxes as well. So we also collect library fines. We also collect
EMS delinquent fees.
EMS delinquent fees.
Yeah.
So anything that the city asks us to, weed liens,
Right.
all of those things, anything that you pay the city, we're always happy to help to try to make sure that those revenues are collected properly.
Well, you have, if I can say, one of the highest collection rates, at least locally, and I think really in the state. You have ramped up efforts. And while people who try to skate on their taxes might not like that, it makes the rest of us who pay our fair share feel better, because we know you're gonna make people pay their fair share at some point. You know, and that's what needs to happen.
Right, right. It's a hard part of the job, and we want people to, like we said, we want it to be a very pleasant experience.
Right.
And even when we're collecting delinquent taxes, we try not to make it an unpleasant or unfair or difficult experience. We try to understand that this is, you know, people have hard times and go through issues, but at the same time, we want to rehabilitate you and enable you to keep your home or keep your car.
Exactly.
And to stay current, because it doesn't do any good for us to let you get really far behind.
No, because then you've got interest, you've got late fees, and
Right.
things compound.
That's right. All right. So it makes it harder to find your way out.
We're sympathetic to life's issues. We understand that. But we all have to pay taxes. And it's like you said at the beginning, Robin, infrastructure, public safety, education. These things are all important. And if it's not paid for, it's going to go delinquent. We don't want that to happen.
Also, the city budget assumes that we're going to hit certain targets.
I know, now that you've set these targets so high,
Right.
we count on it.
That's
It's a part of the budget.
That's right, and we track it monthly, and we know if something's off, and we know that if we don't make those numbers, that there are severe consequences.
Exactly.
City council is either going to have to raise taxes or they're going to have to cut services, and so we feel that responsibility. We know that, you know, it's on us. Once, you know, the budget's set, and that we have to make those numbers, and otherwise there's going to be consequences. People are going to lose their jobs, or services are going to have to be cut, or people are going to have to pay more, and so we want to avoid that.
It's a domino effect.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. There is a lot that goes on in the Treasurer's Office, from handling taxes to handling issues to most of the DMV work, car titles, registration, and it is a wonderful customer service office. Don't be afraid to stop in. I can tell you, you will hardly ever wait in line. People are very friendly. If you have a problem, they will get it resolved. But they have all this convenient stuff you can do online and not have to step foot in there. And I hope you will ask if they have any questions. And thank you for watching.